Hello, we are back for another commentary video of the Mississippi Gravel Cup Round 3 in Ackerman, 100-mile gravel race.
Have an opportunity to
On the
move
start
forward
line right
here
now,
with the
Jason's giving some
neutral,
final
and then roll back
instructions.
up. Any
I
questions?
did not do a commentary
Go ready to
video of
rock
this
and
race
roll.
last year, so
Bozeman,
figured I'd
you're gonna have
try
to
to throw
squeaky
the
wheel
GoPro
today.
on and do it. This is the first race I actually have
Squeaky
filmed
wheel.
in this series.
All
I've
right,
done all
y'all have
3 of
fun.
them.
Be safe.
I've had some bad luck in it and
See you in a few hours. Peter Reed,
whatnot,
you wanna call it too?
but
No.
I
Okay.
didn't even
Ready,
actually do the
set,
first 100
go.
mile
Have
race.
fun,
I
guys.
flatted like right at the start, so I went
Come
back
on,
into the
Landon.
50-mile race, and then the
Be
second
ready.
round in Hattiesburg, I got a flat tire like 50 something miles into the race and chased a lot and was able to get second, but not the result I wanted. So I'm back again trying with this race. We're rolling out about 7 a.m. in the morning. Nice little group of 100-mile riders. I think this is the hardest course of the whole series. It's like 104 miles. I got, over 7,000 feet of climbing, and none of the climbs are really that long. It's just a bunch of short, steep climbs that just punch you in the face all day. So, yep, we are rolling out. Fun group of racers today. I unfortunately didn't film anything, any of the important spots in the race, but I'll catch y'all up in a minute on what's going on. Because yeah, a lot happened at the beginning. But unfortunately, I forgot to turn on the GoPro to go. Or actually, I forgot the GoPro was even there, and then we rolled around slowly, and then you jump in about 85 miles later or something, and here we are. Me and Scott. I'll tell you all what the situation is right now. It's just me and Scott off the front of the race. Or I don't think there's an off the front. It was such a hard course that everybody's just kind of in their own spot. There's not like a main field behind it. Everybody's just in ones and twos riding by themselves because it blew to pieces at the beginning. But yeah, a course like this will do that, and I'm gonna throw a little jab in right here. Me and Scott have been riding together pretty well, and my goal would be, with the nature of the sprint finish being kind of weird, type of weird cyclocross finish, I wanted to be solo coming across the line because sprints are stressful. You never know what happened. It's kind of a toss-up no matter what. So yeah, I'm giving it a good old effort on this hill. It probably didn't take much, but we're both very tired at this point. And I'm very happy that I have the depth in this race after riding for over 5 hours to be able to do this, because my finishing time was like 5.5 hours, so really long race. So yeah, I'm getting it up this hill right now, and Scott's like a few bikes back, and I'm just trying to like get some separation here. And this little section, anybody did the race, is like a big old loop. And this is like a little climb that's stair steps, and then you go to the top, and there's people handing out fireball shots. So very rutted, very tough climb. And then you have a little descent right here, and then a little sign that says "whoop," which is code for death. It's a big old ditch right there. I didn't know what that was the first lap, and I didn't know what to say, so I just screamed because I was on the front, and I hopped over it, and I'm glad I didn't kill anybody because it said "whoop," and I was like, what does that mean? And I saw that big old crater there. But yeah, I think Scott's on my wheel at this point. I'm just trying to keep the pace high, because I feel like to get separation, sometimes you just have to hit it and hope that the person cracks behind you, because you're not going to just instantly drop them after going hard for like 30 seconds. You just have to keep on the gas and hope. And I'm just trying to not give him that much recovery in between this little spot and the next stepper, so I'm just staying on the power even downhill when he's on me. And here's the second little kicker right here. We're passing some 50-mile racers. See, it's pretty rutted out right here, and I'm just giving it everything I have up this hill. And I think I'll just in the saddle doing like a really high cadence. And they're like, there's people taking fireball shots. And yeah, I went really hard right here, and I was very demoralized when I saw Scott was still behind me. It's like, well, I'm not sure how much harder I can go than that right there. So I turn around and see he's there, and that's about all the action of that moment. So while I'm rolling around and Scott's behind me, and we're both playing the game of who wants to pull, and for some reason he doesn't want to pull now after I just attacked him. Anyway, I'll tell you how a race has played out to this point. So race started out pretty aggressive, a lot more aggressive than I thought it was going to be, because I remember last year, me and my teammate Brendan Hausler, we just lit it up in the beginning, and it was brutal, and then we took a wrong turn and took ourselves out of the race. But so yeah, the group was rolling along, and attacks were going left and right, and I was like, I'm attacking really hard right now. This race is going to be like almost 6 hours, and we're just killing it from the gun. So I'm trying to be conservative, because I know I'm going to need this late race effort to be able to win, and a lot can happen, and a lot of times those early groups are kind of pointless. But today it was not pointless. But anyway, so yeah, a lot of attacks are going, and about an hour into the race, Peter and Taylor Heron go up, or Peter Reed and Taylor Heron go up the road, and they get a little bit of a gap, and it's me and Matt who are now chasing to try to close that back. And we hit a small hill, and Scott tries to jump across to them, and I jump on Scott's wheel to go up there. Now it's us four, and then we are rolling along, and yeah, the big deal was that Matt missed that move, so we were all going hard to try to take out one of the key players in the series early on in the race. And the group was riding very hard, more hard than I think that we could all sustain for this duration, so I was trying to be on the conservative side of it. And yeah, I think I played it right, because it seemed like everybody in the move, was pretty wiped out before we even finished the first lap. And yeah, Peter flatted out of the group, and then we lost Taylor right before the start of the second lap. So it was me and Scott, just us by ourselves before we even started the second lap. So it was going to be a long, two-man time trial with us just, riding by ourselves. So that was basically what happened. Us just two-man time trialing it, and we were working very well together until about mile 30, and then I kind of got a gap for free. I think Scott got held up by somebody, and I saw I had a gap, so I just put my head down and drilled it, and it was a pretty good chase for 5 or 10 minutes, and then Scott came back, and then after that our working together was over. It was a lot slower, and we were definitely at risk of being caught by Matt from behind, because he was making a strong late charge by himself. So yeah, it's a pretty slow last bit, so I'll fast forward to the probably the deciding point in the race, because yeah, we're just slow rolling right here. Not much to see. So here we are. We're coming into the last few final hills, and if anything's it's going to happen right here. And I've said that I don't want to sprint. I can do well. I can do well in a sprint, but it's just very stressful. And if I can avoid it, definitely want to avoid it. So yeah, we're rolling in to one of the final few hills, and I'm thinking about attacking on this hill, but I decide not to. I decide basically just to hold just a hard pace to try to weaken the legs of Scott for the next hill and see what's up. So yeah, I basically just sit in the saddle, and I don't have a power meter, but I felt like the effort, like I said, I felt like the effort was 380 to 400 watts, which is pretty hard at this point in the race, so I'm just trying to stay steady up this hill and do that. And this isn't going to drop Scott, but I think it is going to hurt him a little bit. So yeah, I'm just in the saddle, just cranking up this hill. I really like the way this course was set up, because it was basically just was a bunch of punchy hills all day, and I liked the way the race finished because it finished with a bunch of very hard climbs, which is very nice. Like the next race in the series, Bentonia does not finish that way. It finishes. It has punchy climbs in it, but they're not in a significant spot. So the race next week or the race 2 weeks from now will probably end up in a big bunch finish because the features at the end of the race aren't hard enough to get separation unless somebody is just way stronger and there's hesitation in the group. But nobody really ever lets anybody go on purpose in this race with us because it's such a small field and we all know each other. It's not like road where somebody goes up the road and we gamble they'll come back. Anytime somebody goes up the road in these races, we're probably gonna, shut it down immediately because, yeah. So the only way to get away is just power. But yeah, that's why these races are fun. They're all a unique course and a unique strategy applied to each one. Yeah, we're cresting the top of this little hill right now. And I've just been trying to stay steady on the power. And I'm going to pull off probably soon up here and let Scott come through and see if I can tell how he's feeling. Wasn't too muddy on this race. Last week was the last race in the series was a complete mud mess, but not this one. So there was rain in the forecast, and we were very lucky it did not rain because we were getting a few sprinkles on the second lap, and we were just like, oh boy, here we go. Because it's pretty cold, low or high 30s, low 40s, so it didn't really warm up that much. And then Scott flicks his elbow right there. He's either saving it or he's hurting because he wants me back on the front. I feel like it was a very defensive move, stance. And then I think we're about to go into the second to last climb, which is basically the way the finish worked. Was there was like 2 climbs. There was like 1 climb, and then a descent, and then another steep climb, and then you're on the road. So this is the second to last significant climb right here. And I think Scott knows that this is going to be important because we roll into it and I immediately put on the power. And Scott's next to me, and I'm just staying on the power to see, because I'm not really sure yet how I'm going to do, but Scott's next to me matching the power, and I'm going, and then I decide to try to kick it into another gear and see what happens. So I click down another gear and I stand up and I just try to put in another acceleration. And we're passing some 50-milers right there, and so yeah, I'm basically in a sustained sprint for 10 to 15 seconds right there to try to get a gap, and I turn around and I see I have a gap over Scott right now. So I sit back in the saddle and I just keep the power on over this little false flat section right here. And we're probably 5 miles away, 4 or 5 miles away from the finish at this point, so all you can do now is just stay low, and then we have a truck coming up, and we're not moving, there's a truck. And then, so yeah, try not to die right there. And then I keep the power down right here. And I can see from the background that I think I've cracked him because the gap has gone out pretty much a lot at this point. Like I can't see him anymore after this, but I'm gonna stay on the gas just to be safe. But definitely still trying to save something because there is one more final climb that was harder than this climb. I decided to put an effort on this hill because I wanted to hurt him if he still was with me, and then still have the second to last or the last hill to put in an effort. Because if I didn't get a gap right here, it was going to be a very annoying and stressful game of cat and mouse on the road, coming in and a lot of slow rolling, and that's no fun because then you also reminded that we have no idea the gap between third place behind. We don't know if it's, you know, like 5 or 10 minutes or 30 minutes or, you know, whatever. But the gap is actually, you know, after the race Matt was about 3.5 minutes behind us at this point. So definitely don't want to be slow rolling, because we did a lot of that at the last lap. And definitely put us at risk for being caught. But yeah, you can see this road has just been kind of dragging up a lot. So very, very easy road just to keep the power on it. I wish I had a power meter to overlay power. That would be a cool feature to add for this video, but I do not have a power meter in my Salsa Warbird right now, so I'm just riding completely with feel, which you rarely are like looking at a power meter in a bike race. You're just kind of, you know, doing it. But yeah, gosh, watching this video, I definitely realized how long this road just kind of dragged up. In the race, I was just kind of in it, but yeah, I was very fortunate in this race to not have any mechanical issues, because I was just, you know, that was definitely something that was stressing me out a lot. Before, like, I took a lot of precautions. I put a frame pump on or like a hand pump on my frame, and carried a bunch of CO2s and bought CO2 canisters and learned how to use them, because I had a bunch of CO2 failures in the last 2 races before this. But this race is definitely a goal for me, because this is one of the races that I have not won yet. Because last year we had navigation issues. But yeah, now I'm down the descent. Right, this is going to be right before the last climb. We're going to descend fast into it. You can see the roads are a little wet, but not like muddy, because the last race in the series, Hattiesburg, was an absolute mess for anybody that was there. Really fun, heavy race. The theme in these races is fitness prevails. If you can have a lot of issues, but if you just, you know, whoever has the most fitness is going to win these races. That's not always the case with like straight road racing, but for gravel it's usually the case. But yeah, just don't have much to say about this climb. I'm just kind of trying to. I went really hard on the last one, so I'm just hurting right now. Just trying to get up this climb. You know, usually GoPro makes these climbs not look that bad, but looking at this climb on the GoPro, it still looks pretty hard. So you can imagine what it was like in real life. But I'm just telling myself that as soon as I get to the top of this climb, I'm going to take a right turn, and it's just going to be a road. It's just going to be pavement with a tailwind, and once I get there, I'll win. And I'm pretty sure that I'm going to win at this point, because I can't even see Scott at this point. And it's a pretty, you know how hills work. You can see somebody on a hill, and they be like 45 seconds away because of how slow we're going. And he still hasn't even got to the hill yet, so I'm pretty certain that I'm going to win. I'm still just trying to keep the power on right now. And the top is just about in sight, and I'm just weeping all over the place. I'm in my big ring, and I refuse to switch to my small ring right there, because I kind of like to torque my way up these climbs. I'm not sure if that's the best strategy, but with gravel, I just kind of like a low gear type of torque on the steep climbs. I can just kind of like put my back into it, kind of like riding up a hill in cyclocross. But yeah, and you can see the top is right here. We made it to the road. We are going to turn onto the road now. And in my head, the race was like over at this point. I'm just going to try to stay aero and just time trial my way to the road, to the finish. I was super excited to get on the road, because but I'm definitely not letting up. I'm going to just keep on pedaling hard, and just know that I'm a few miles away at this point. but the last bits of the road are done. But yeah, I feel like the dynamics of these gravel races have been a little different this year. The two that I've been in for the 100 mile they've all been very active from the start. Usually in years past, it's kind of been like we all ride the first lap chill and whatever, and then the second lap the racing starts. But for the last two races, they've both been somebody's missed out on something in the first like hour, and it's just been everybody's just been killing it. You know, it's like, oh, now I'm fast forwarding a little bit on the road because I'm just riding my bike at this point, so I'm not actually going this fast. That would have been nice if I could kick it into gear like this, but so yeah. But anyway, the gravel, it's been like somebody's missed the move in the first hour, so the decision has been, all right, well, let's get rid of this person at mile 20, so we don't have to deal with him at mile 80 or whatever. So that means the racing has been very aggressive and it's been very on just from the gun. So it's been like a complete race. Because today it was just on the whole time. And it's just like, for example, like I didn't stop this entire race, and this is something I can only do in the winter because I definitely wouldn't get away with 2 water bottles for a 5.5 hour race during the summer. But today, yeah, we did not stop once the entire race. Our elapsed time was like my elapsed time was like 5 hours and 32 minutes, and my moving time was 5 hours and 32 minutes. So no stopping at all. But yeah, we're about to get off of this highway right here. We descend down this road right here, and then we take like the left turn. And then basically in my head it was like once we took this left turn right here, we were done because yeah. And when I turned down this road right here, I was just really relieved to not have to be in some type of sprint finish, because you can see coming up here, it'd be a tricky sprint finish, and it'd be a painful sprint finish because basically you'd just be on the pedals as hard as you could as soon as you took this turn to the finish line, because it's a type of cyclocross way of riding. Let's see where it is. Okay, so yeah, there it is right there. You can see the tape up there. Take a right turn over this little hump. Over this little hump. Last year there were barriers, and this year there weren't, so I was really relieved to have to get off my bike this time. So it's all uphill too, which is nice. I definitely was prepared to sprint, and I liked my chances in a sprint, but always nice to not have to do it. So yeah, that's not the finish line, it's a false finish line. The finish line's right there. And yeah, I am excited, I'm pumped. Post up a little bit, there's Peter getting the high five, and I crossed the line first. There's my Velvet boys, love them. And I'm exhausted. It's like I was just emptying the tank, I was going as hard as I could that whole bit, so just gonna roll down and cool down. But yeah, anyway, thanks guys for watching my video. I know it's kind of a long one, and haven't talked to the camera in a little bit, so if my voice is annoying, you can just mute it and watch the video. But yeah, anyway, thank you for watching, everyone. I'll try to do a few more voiceovers. I may try to bring the camera to Texas next week. I'm doing a road race in Texas next week, and then Bentonia, I'll try to film the camera again, because that'll be a fun dynamic race, and try to film more of the action part instead of only turning the camera on after everything's happened like I did this weekend. But yeah, anyway, it's still exciting to see. At least you can see how the race was won at this point. But yeah, anyway, thank you for watching, guys, and tune in for more.